So we have 53 minutes to get through this. Sometimes load shedding starts a little bit later though, right?
You know, the story of this country and everything. Anyway.
Someone
Hello,
asked me
Chloe.
on,
Welcome
hello,
to
Canton.
the Chloe podcast today. So great to have you
Yeah.
join us.
Imagine if I called it the Chloe podcast.
The Chloe podcast.
So creative and original. So it is called Not My House. So welcome to Not My House.
Whose house is it though?
It's
That's
my mom and her. Good question. My mom and my stepdad. It's their
nice.
house.
So we're
I am.
technically all these guests are over for like a family lunch. Like
Yeah,
we're all
exactly.
invited to not your house, but mom's
To Not
house.
My House. Yeah. I don't know why I thought that was a good name for the podcast, but I streamed the other day and I was asking chat, what they thought, and they were like, "Yeah, Not My House. Cool, cool. Doesn't
I think
matter."
it's sick. I think it's
Thanks.
dope. Yeah, 100%.
So Canton, you are a creative storyteller. Is that your bio?
Creative storytelling and gaming, yeah.
Creative storytelling and gaming. Yes. How could I forget? We go back maybe a couple of years. We've met like through the scene and stuff. We've done some work together as well. We hosted an event together, or hosted
That was
at an
fun.
event together. That was super fun. That was the Urban X finals. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and I think you've like just got that personality, like that MC hype kind of personality. You're good on a
Aw.
mic. Yeah.
Oh, shucks, man.
Stop it.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's how we know each other. You're kind of like one of the few gaming influencers that I know that don't actually stream. So
Yes.
have you thought of streaming? Why don't you?
You know what's so irritating? Like okay, before I answer the question, I think the obvious, and it's not an excuse, but I guess it's my excuse for lack of a better term, in a twofold way. One, because I'm so creative, I'm always like, how does it look? Well, not creative, that's a bad answer. But because I'm so particular in my style and like what I want to do and how I want to do and the finesse and approach, I'm always like, man, will it look good? And how, what's in the background? Hence, this is like a whole black background just to like, okay, let's just keep it simple. But like, there's so much that I'd want to do that I don't think I'd ever be happy. So I think until I get to the point where I feel like, okay, cool, this is the style that I want to do, then I'll run with it. But again, that's probably the most stupid excuse ever. The best way to start is to just start. And then the second part to that answer would be because in this freaking country called South Africa, I mean, you want to stream in the evening and it's like, hey, load shedding in 55 minutes. And it's like, well, okay, I'll just go count sheep outside. So yeah, I do want to stream. I've got, all the gear to stream already. It's just a matter of like sitting down and streaming, and you're not the first person to ask. So thank you for the interest. But yeah, I think, I don't know, like when I do content, I can very easily like craft it and put it together and edit. And do I want it to look this way? Do I want it to look that way? Where streaming is like, it's live. Like if my dog decides to jump in front of me and like let his wings fly, there's no like, oh yeah, let me just take that out. So I don't know. I think I just should.
Yeah.
Should probably just
Okay,
like,
so you're
just
like a
do
bit
it,
of a
and then,
perfectionist.
yeah.
Yeah.
To my
Yeah,
detriment,
that makes
yes,
sense.
100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. You are very good like that. You are a high production value kind of person. Obviously, I'm not, because look at my lighting, please.
Nonsense. It's the winter tree in the background that makes the whole thing.
I know. I was like, I actually don't want to move from here because I can
No,
like
why
go and
not?
film inside where it's dark and I've got my soft boxes. But I'm like, no,
Exactly.
I like the nature outside. It's a
No,
cool
absolutely.
backdrop.
And it looks nice and homey, so that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Oh, not your house, but very homey.
Yeah, I will pass it on.
Love it.
Yeah, so I think if you did stream, you would probably be like nutty, right? Super high
I mean, like,
production value, all the bells and whistles.
Like, I think the production 100%, and I think I'm very much a contemplative gamer. So like I love story games. So like I will sit and play like Spider-Man 2, God of War. I mean, a new one that, funny enough, came out recently is Banish's Ghost of New Eden. And that's like such a deep, emotional, story-driven game where if you're not like concentrating and you're like taking it in, you're not really experiencing it in its full. So for me, when I play, I'm just like,
Yeah.
and like that's me. It's like, wow, this is fun to watch on stream. Where sometimes I think maybe I need to like play games where, you know, it's like your Fortnite or your Fall Guys or Call of Duty, where, you know, there is a lot of banter. You can like involve the chats and a lot of stuff. So maybe I should just do it, Chloe. You know, just do it.
I think you really should. It's like the one thing, I mean, if you don't, it's cool. That's your kind of choice, but it's like
And
the
I'll be
one
miserable
thing.
forever.
Yeah, you'll not enjoy not streaming.
100%.
I love streaming, and I think you like your personality is very much you know, a peoply
Oh,
kind of person. So, but I get that you also don't want to divide your, you know, there's this like gamer element and then there's this
mm,
extroverted element to you, right?
mm,
So I get that you want to play the game and then
mm.
also be able to interact with chat and like put on a good show, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's almost, well, correct me if I'm wrong, and you know, you've been doing streaming for a while, but
Mm.
streaming is almost like having everyone else in the room with you and you're all experiencing the same thing and having fun together. So I
Yeah,
think I would need to be like, hey, I'm doing this with people, as opposed to like, shh, I'm trying to concentrate. So it's like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, like
but it
when
could be fun.
people, that's so funny because when people talk about like a low view count or something, imagine, let's say you have like 12 people watching your stream. Imagine 12 people in a room, like sitting behind you watching you play a game. That's pretty cool.
It's so dope. There's a video of a
Yeah,
kid, well, it's not a kid, maybe he's like 18, 19, and
a kid.
there's this like viral video, and there's like 9 people, nine, not 10, not double digits, nine
Yeah.
people that tune into his stream, and he's like, oh my word, no way, no way, calls his mom into the room. The
Oh,
mom jumps into the room and she's like, no way, it's as if these 9 people are here in your room with you. And he's like,
oh,
I know, right? And the whole video went viral, and then his subscriber count just went through the roof because of just
oh,
the
that's so
wholesomeness of it.
cool.
But the
Yeah,
point of that is, yeah, it's literally there's people sitting in the room with you,
yeah,
technically.
yeah. And it's quite funny, like when your view count hikes, there's like this pressure, you know, you're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I have to like this has to be entertaining, this has to be cool, kind of
You want
thing.
to put on a good show. You want to make
Yeah,
people enjoy what they came
yeah.
for. If they want a drama, they can go ETV.
ETV. Oh wow, what a throwback. Tonight's on you.
Oh man.
Um, Canton, what
Yeah.
happened to your Instagram account? I was waiting for the story. You basically like made a new Instagram account, and you've got a decent following on your main Instagram.
Yeah.
And then you made this new account, which is the same content, right? So I was
Essentially,
assuming
yeah.
you got hacked, you couldn't get your account back, something like that happened. So what happened?
So I think hacking, like, it's so funny. I was chatting to someone the other day, and they said they feel like if I was hacked, it would have been better. Like, it would have like made more sense. Which
Hmm.
I don't know if I ever want to go about getting hacked or wish upon anyone to get hacked. But in a nutshell, so I released like a nugget of a video, and there's so like it was a 3-minute video, which is not terribly short, but not long either.
Hmm.
Um, and just pretty much I left out so much detail, but in a short, concise, nugget-ish of a way. Apparently, so I only really started doing content creation since 2020. What is it now? 2024. Since 2022, I've like really, you know, like once upon a time, Kudu reached out to me and they were like, hey, we like your content. We see you're a bit of a creative person. We looking to expand our horizons and work with new creators. And hey, we came across your stuff. Would you be keen? So I was like, duh. Like I grew up as a gamer and I get to do stuff with like a gaming brand. Like, yo, why not? I mean, even
Yeah.
if it's just a once-off thing, like this is great. Long story short, that was 2022. It grew so much now that I'm working with a lot of gaming distributors within South Africa, some within Dubai. There's guys in Australia, in America, doing stuff with EA, Nintendo. Like it's it's really exploding. I can't even tell you like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, hey, here's the ABC, the 1, 2, 3, how to get from here to like, I can't tell you because I've just, I'm still on this journey. But long story short,
Yeah.
that was 2022. Last year, December 2023, or no, November, I did work, or I did a collaboration alongside Universal Music. Now, a lot of people that don't really know about me, my
Oh.
background is with Universal Music. I used to be part of the creative team at Universal Music. Before that, Soul Candy Records. So my background is music industry. So this isn't
Mm.
like a, hey, Universal found me and were like, hey, like, this is the guy we need to use. There's much, much bigger content creators than me. But I think because of the relationship, it's because they were looking for someone specifically within the context of gaming, which they didn't
Mm.
really know. They were like, hey, we know Canton. We've worked with Canton. We continuously do work with Canton from a business perspective. But hey, let's try this gaming thing. So Eminem was featuring within Fortnite, and there was this whole the Big Bang event within the Fortnite game with Eminem. Now Eminem is a universal artist. So they were like, cool, we're gonna do this little content piece promoting Eminem in Fortnite. Canton loves staring at a camera and talking into a microphone. Let's get him to make content that's like just a nugget, like 40 seconds long. So I was like, great, love it, approved, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be so much fun. Love it. It wasn't like anything daunting for me, primarily because I know the people. So for me, it's like, oh, we're family. We're doing this together.
Yeah.
Anyway, on their back end, they were like, cool, we want to put budget behind boosting it. Like most brands would do. They either give you the budget and you boost it, or they
Mm.
boost it on their end through whatever the terminology is. It's like a code that you send and whatever. So I posted and they're like, cool, on your TikTok, we just need like this code. And then on your Instagram, you need to go into your Meta business suite and then just accept us as a partner. And then cool, we'll take care of the hard work on our side. I was like, great, this is amazing. Let's go. I go to accept them and it's like, no, you can't accept a partner, you've been restricted. I'm like, what do you mean I've been restricted? So they trying to figure out on their end, I'm trying to figure it out on my end. It's just not winning. Long story short, speaking to quite a high executive within Meta's support, turns out that my business suite, sorry, not my Instagram, my business
Mm-hmm.
suite has been permanently disabled and restricted due to a strike or something within an ad policy. So some adverts to do with something. And I'm like, man, over the past like 2 years of me doing content creation, I've never really messed up anything ad related. They're like, no, it wasn't 2 years. Something you did in 2020, 2019. I'm like, 29, like I wasn't even doing content creation then. What did I do? They're like, oh, let's find out for you. Cool. Wait 2 days, comes back. Yeah, no, sorry. Due to a data policy, we unfortunately can't disclose what the action was. I'm like, okay,
Oh
so you
my
can't tell me what
gosh.
I did. And now that I don't know why this happened, because you can't tell me what I did, you've now just all of a sudden permanently, like the email literally said, this decision is final and the permanent ban and restriction can be, what was it? I think unrevoked or something. And I was like, okay, so what do I do? They're like, unfortunately, nothing. Please don't forget to rate our service. I'm like,
Oh my
guys,
god.
like, and then like the case was just closed. Literally, I got an email saying, thank you for contacting Meta, case closed. I'm like,
Blocked.
what, who dropped you on your head? Like, I don't know what I did. I can't appeal it. So like, what do I do now? Now, thankfully, I could still, and still to this day, I can still use my Instagram account. I can still post, I can
Mm-hmm.
still comment, I can still like, I can still use the account. Unfortunately, as a more than a person, as a brand, you need to position yourself in such a manner that you can reach a wider audience that wouldn't ordinarily find your page or come across your page. So that therefore you use ads. So you put
Yeah.
on a boost, you target a specific region, age category, interests, whatever. I couldn't do that. So I'm like, okay, so if a brand like a Universal, like a whoever wants to do work with me and go, hey, listen, we have some budget kept aside. We would like to boost this. Unfortunately, my answer is, yeah, sorry, I'm restricted and banned permanently. I can't help you. And I'm like, no, man, this is stupid.
Oh
Anyway,
man.
so what I did was then I thought, cool, I'm going to just start a brand new Instagram account with a brand new Facebook page and a brand new
Mm-hmm.
business suite, link them all, do all the security checks, make the page and the whole thing so damn healthy that it's like impossible for this to happen again.
Yeah.
And that's been going great for now. I don't know if
Yeah.
Meta's going to just kind of, roll the dice and go, who can we piss off today? But, but anyway, so that's the drama behind the whole thing. So in conclusion, trying to start a new Instagram page alongside building TikTok aggressively, and then possibly looking into further expanding into YouTube. I think I
Yeah.
made the mistake of putting all my eggs into one basket on Instagram, which
Yeah.
I wouldn't encourage anyone to do. However, what I would encourage you to do is just keep making content, regardless of a meta, regardless of a universal. If like a lot of people think, oh, if I work with these big people, I'll get somewhere, and that could not be further from the truth. You should make
Yeah.
content primarily for you. That if you're the only viewer, you should be able to look at it and go, man, that
Be
actually looks
proud of
pretty
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be proud of it. So that's the drama. Not
Oh
entirely
my
happy. And to the
gosh.
extent this morning, literally, I
Yeah.
got out of bed. I was like, oh, let me check my phone. So on this new account, I boosted it. Okay.
Yeah.
So like there was like 1 or 2 posts, especially my game reviews. I'm like, I do want to build it now. Like I don't have the biggest of following, but I'm getting the views, and that's important. So let me push it a bit more. And I see I owed some money. So I was like, oh, you know what? It says in Meta's whole policy, like TikTok and Meta are very different. TikTok, you pay for immediately, and that's it. Like it's done. Meta, it holds your funds, and then you pay them at the end of the month, which, cool, it's fine. You want to do it that way, that's fine. But I don't want to do that. So I was like, cool, let me just pay it all now. So I go to pay it this morning, and for some unknown reason, my bank looked at it as fraud. So they reversed the payment, which now tells Meta that I didn't pay you.
Oh
So then what do Meta
gosh.
do? I get an email this morning, Chloe, this freaking morning. I get an email from Meta going, oh, hey, we've disabled and restricted your accounts because you've missed the payments. I'm like,
Oh
guys,
my gosh.
I will
They hate
murder
you.
somebody. They hate me.
They
What did I
literally
do?
hate you.
Mr. and Mrs. Meta, I'm sorry I egged your house when I was a kid. But anyway, long story short, I just changed the card, changed the bank, submitted the payment, went through, everything's lifted. Cool. So it's back to normal
Okay.
for now. But
Oh my
Chloe,
gosh,
man,
Canton, I'm so sorry. Do you know
social media companies, eh?
I know I had a nightmare with Instagram as well. I had a gaming Instagram because I felt like
Yeah.
my personal Instagram was kind of like photography and like personal stuff, So I made a gaming Instagram, and it wasn't like huge or anything, but I put effort into reels. I got like someone to
Yeah.
film for me. I
You
made
put
like
in the
some
work.
cool, yeah. And then this is my mistake. So I'm gonna say what happened. Please don't judge me, but this is what happened, and it caused an absolute nightmare for me. Someone messaged me and said they made me emotes for Twitch, and then they sent
Okay.
me a link. And I clicked on the link. It was a guy I knew, like one of my viewers, So I was like, okay,
Yeah. So
cool,
like, why wouldn't you believe him?
yeah, like I don't like know him, but I like see him in chats and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's cool, I didn't even think twice. I didn't even think, oh my gosh, this might be something dodgy, In hindsight, and I know people are gonna watch this and absolutely roll their eyes. It was so dumb. But I clicked on the link, it asked me to log
As soon
into
as you said link,
Instagram.
I was like, oh no.
In hindsight, like it's so easy to judge, but in context, you don't really think about it, Asked me
Not
to
at
log
all.
into Instagram. So it's obviously a fake website that captures your data, So I logged into Instagram. That gave these people my
Everything.
email and password. So they
Oh.
held my Instagram hostage for about 2 years. 2 years. I had a location. They were in Nigeria somewhere. I had a phone number. I had an email. Obviously, it was a burner. Probably the phone number was a burner as well. I got my viewers to send their messages on the account. I used to chat to them. I'd be like, please, please just give my account back. They have access to all my messages, all my conversations, like drafts, everything,
Oh my days. Okay, that's a whole lot worse than mine.
It was so anxiety provoking because I was like, what are they gonna do? They can just like, they're so, that's so dangerous.
It's
Eventually
horrible. It's
I
absolutely
like did
horrible.
that selfie verification thing where you send a video of yourself and you're like, hello, this is me, like this is what I look like, I'm in my pictures, this is my account, no, nothing worked. Then like 2 years later, I just kept telling people like, hey guys, this isn't my account, I don't use this account anymore,
Yeah.
it's held by pirates. And then eventually someone messaged me from Instagram, like a private person was like, hey, I am in touch with Instagram. I'll sort it out for you. And they fixed it for me like a few months ago. It was an
Like,
absolute
that just
nightmare.
annoys me. It annoys me so much, primarily because, look at your face. Here's my ID. Here's
Yeah.
like, guys, here is everything. Now this is you speaking to Meta,
Do you
Instagram,
want
whatever.
a blood
And they're like,
sample?
yeah, it's like, what
Yeah.
more do you want? And they're like, yeah, sorry. Like, that I think annoys
Oh
me the most,
man.
because what are you doing for your customers that use your product at the end of the day? You do
Yeah.
nothing for them.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think that's what probably annoys me the most is, it's not hard work to kind of
Yeah.
go, okay, this person that's currently on the phone with us and this whole verification process, it's probably Chloe.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
This Instagram page, kind of, yeah, like, come on,
Maybe just like, no.
please, man.
Yeah.
That's why I egged Mr. and Mrs. Meta's house when I was a kid.
We should do it now. Or not.
Yes.
You wanna be safe now.
Go shoot paintballs at their children when they walk out of school. Don't do that
Paintballs are
unless
really
you really need
painful.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. Last
Oh
port
man,
of call. Um, okay. So Canton, shame.
that went really, really dark.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Sucks, man. That really sucks. I was
It's
honestly
okay.
like waiting. I must have missed your story. But I was waiting to hear what
I
had
made like,
happened.
I think it's like the third or fourth post within the new page. It's like got a smiley face that's
Okay.
like melting, because that's how I really felt on the inside. It was like, I'm smiling, but I'm annoyed. So anyway,
Okay, I'm
that's
gonna
fine.
go check it out. How did you originally get into gaming and tech? I mean, it's maybe
So
an obvious answer, but
yeah, so well, funny enough, I can never prove this, what I'm about to say, but I would hope people would trust it as I
mhm,
trusted the person who told me this.
mhm,
So I grew up a gamer. I grew up with PlayStation 1. I grew up with siblings that were gamers. I specifically grew up with a dad who was not so much a gamer, but he was very involved, if I could almost call it like the pop culture, gaming culture, like whatever that culture is. He was the managing director for Hasbro, for Prima Toys, for Just Fun Toys. So a lot of like toy stuff.
mhm.
So with like, Just Fun Toys, who had the toy rights for Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers had the rights for Lord of the Rings. So as a kid, I'm growing up with all these like Lord of the Rings figurines. Monopoly was the game in our household alongside like Risk. What else was there? It was like a whole bunch. Lego, my dad was part of Lego once upon a time. And so
Oh,
with all of that, I
best.
can't remember what company my dad was at the time, but he, alongside the executive team within Germany, brought Nintendo to South Africa. So I grew up with the good old classic, like that brick Game Boy Nintendo thing.
Mhm.
I grew up with that, playing Mario, all of that. Not the greatest parenting advice, but probably don't introduce your 6-year-old to Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That's what I grew up on. So I've, from the classic Hot Wheels to Tekken 1, literally.
Mhm.
My brother had arcade machines in his bedroom. So we grew up as a gaming family, if you almost want to call it. My mom would sit on the couch next to me and I'd be like, Mom, come. Again, goes back to the storytelling game. Like, Mom, come play this game with me. But
Yeah.
she's not playing the game with me. You're sitting next to me. I'm playing it. You're watching me play. And then we're
Born
watching a movie, except
streamer.
I'm controlling the main character. So that's how I primarily got into, if you want to call it gaming. I think much like anyone in life, you just grow up with a passion, and that passion evolves into hobbies, and you look for different things, whether it be console gaming, portable gaming, card gaming, board gaming, just gaming in general.
Mhm.
That I absolutely loved growing up as a kid. And then alongside that, I think I was 13 or 14. I started getting into like creative arts, if you want to call it. So I used to do a lot of design. got a camera. I think when I was 15, I got a camera, and I was like, cool, I'm just gonna take photos. My brother is a successful photographer,
Yes.
so I always used to look up to him to be like, oh, okay, cool. I want to take photos like you. He had a Mac. I wanted to get a Mac. He had a Canon camera. I wanted to get a Canon camera. So my brother helped shape a lot of my drive growing up as a kid for what I wanted to do when I was older.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, a combination of the two is I used to absolutely love playing The Sims because I love building houses and creating characters and decorating and building everything. So I initially, as a career, wanted to step into either architecture or interior design. Didn't really work out that way because for whatever reason, I can't even remember. But long story short, I got into design and also around gaming. A friend of mine came over to LAN, funny enough. We were playing, I think it was Command and Conquer. I think it was like Rise of Nations. I think we played a bit of Counter-Strike as well back in the day. And we were like young, like I think, 14, 15. And so we start up
Oh my
our
gosh.
PCs and his PC starts up. You have the loading screen.
Yeah.
So his loading screen starts up with his name, but it's like this cool liquid design. So I was like, oh, cool, dude. Where'd you get that? He's like, no, I made it. I'm like, didn't make it. It's like, where'd you get it? I want to get mine.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, like I promise you I made it. I used this thing called Photoshop. So I was like, oh, cool. Can you give me Photoshop? He's like, yeah, he has a cracked version. Put a cracked version of Photoshop on my
FBI.
computer. Yeah, FBI is like watching you. And I think for a solid 3 months, I just like messed around with that application. What does this do? What does that do? Can I do this? Calling him like every day, like, how did you do this? How did you do that? And then eventually I found my rhythm. And then, before you know it, someone was like, hey, can I have a logo? Because I had a lot of friends that were DJs. They were like, oh, hey, can I have a CD cover? And oh, I'm hosting this event and I'm DJing. Can you do the fly? And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. 100 Rand.
Yeah.
200 Rand.
Big money.
300 Rand. 400. And then eventually it grew to such an extent where then design, specifically graphic design, became my job, if you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Included in that was photography. Oh, let me photograph my DJ friend and put him on the flyer. And then that turned into video where it's like, oh, you want a music video, or you want me to film you DJ? Oh, yeah, cool. I'll film that as well. So then that trio of design, photo, and video got smushed into one. And then so many years later, that's kind of what I do now. And what was so awesome about that whole thing, and maybe if someone remembers the beginning of the story, it all started off with gaming. Gaming was the foundational trampoline and catapult, if you want to call it, that got me to where I am today. Just simply having a passion and a drive to love the storytelling and the stories that you get to experience and immerse yourself in, but then getting to be behind the driver's seat in how you experience and immerse yourself in that. So that's pretty much how I got into, I guess if you want to call it, creativity. And then that's ultimately from a creativity, gaming, content creation vibe style.
It's actually like it's such a perfect mix of like skills and interests that you
100%.
Yeah, it's brilliant. That's actually a better story than I bargained for, to be honest.
Yeah, I was with a client last week and it was so funny. It's a client that I'm also mates with.
Mm-hmm.
So we were chatting and we were going through like all the deliverables for the work we got to do. It's like, this, and I'm just speaking like, okay, cool, you got to look at this, and then this is how we're going to do this and this and this. And it was just like, cool, there we go. And then he asked me about a game that was coming up and I was like, oh bro. And then I went and I broke this whole thing down, turned my laptop around, showed him this, showed him that. And then right at the end of the whole thing, he says to me, like, he's like so confused in his face, but also like a little bit of a smile.
Yeah.
And he says to me, dude, you become a completely different person when you talk about games. I was like, oh, what makes you say that? He's like, compared to what you were saying a few minutes ago, gaming makes it look like you just come alive. And I was like, I kind of took that and I was like, yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that is really cool. Speaking of which, what is your all-time favorite game, and what is your favorite game at the moment?
You know what? That's such a classic question.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
I'm gonna answer. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's like my all-time favorite, but whenever someone always says to me, "What's your favorite game of all time?" I always go to this as it's like the first game that comes to mind. Not that it's like oh man, it was my all-time favorite, but it's always a game that across all time of me being a gamer, it's always been this game that comes to memory. And it's called Dynasty Warriors 2. And it's pretty much this army that team versus this team. You choose a
Mm-hmm.
warrior, soldier, whatever, and you go and you fight in this battle, and you need to, you got to win the battle.
Okay.
And if anyone had to play it, or if anyone did play it, would know that it's the most basic, to the point game on planet Earth. It's like just kill a bunch of people. It's a hack and slash, but it's like very arcade in a sense.
Yeah.
And I think as a 7-8-year-old, that was my game growing up. Like, man, I love this game to the point where Dynasty Warriors 2 all the way up until Dynasty Warriors 9. I've
Wow.
got every single one of those games and played them and kept playing them. And I would just wish that they would make a new one with like next gen graphics, next gen technology, in a way that it's like, man, this is next level.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's probably the game, Dynasty Warriors 2. And I think currently right now, only because it came out last week, Thursday, and it's like probably, like, I can't put it down. I love it so much. It's Helldivers 2. It's an online-only
Okay.
live service game. You're thrown onto a map with a whole bunch of either aliens or like Terminator type things, like robots, and you just got to kill them with your mates, and you just got to not die. But the gameplay is addictive. The graphics are beautiful. The environment's interactive. You shoot an alien and the green blood gets on your outfits, and it's like it's there. Like, they didn't have to put that detail in, but the fact that it's there makes it just even that much better.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a cool game. But I think the nice thing, and I had this conversation with someone the other day, the nice thing about, I would argue, for any gamer, is I don't really think you have a favorite game or a favorite genre or a favorite anything. Because as a gamer, you should be so pliable and open to every genre and every game and every experience and every angle and everything and anything that's thrown at you in the context of gaming. You should be able to look at it from an objective perspective, find the gold. Obviously, most games need improvement. We all know that. But find the gold and find what you enjoy about it. Because whether it be the narrative that helps you how you think, whether it be, the quick time reactions like Call of Duty, destroying 12-year-old Afrikaans kids online. It's like, you got to be quick there. So it's like there's so much to gaming that I think anyone and everyone can get something out of. So my favorite all-time game, every game. My favorite game right now, every game.
Every game? I was going to say, like, my favorite game is always the one I'm playing at the time,
There we go.
Whatever I'm playing is my favorite game.
Tweetable.
If it wasn't my favorite game at the time, I wouldn't continue playing it,
That's also true.
Like, yeah. What would surprise people about you?
I think, I mentioned it earlier that I once upon a time wanted to become an interior designer and architect.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I see
Because, like,
that,
no
though.
one thinks that. I think people look at me and they're like, oh, gaming journalist. I think a lot of people are shocked to, like, even today, they're shocked to find out, like, oh, I actually have a job. Like, I'm a designer, photographer, videographer. Like, I'm part of an entertainment and events agency. Like, a lot of people hear that and they go, oh, so you don't get paid to just play games? I'm like, no, dude. Like, I don't live that best life. So already people are shocked at that. But I think as being surprised, like wanting to make spaces beautiful in how they look and how people experience them when you walk in.
Mm-hmm. Is that still something that's like applicable to you now? Like, do you find you implement that at home, or?
Well, if my wife was here, she'd probably just be the person that's like,
yes,
100%. Because I'm the guy that's like that needs to be straight, that needs to be folded properly. Not that I'm like, again, maybe it answers the perfectionist thing and like a little bit of OCD, but like something that's neat and presentable, so that the purpose of it is that when someone walks in, they're like, wow, this is like really well put together. And I guess that translates into my content creation, where, is it the right size font? Is it big enough? Is it, how's the color grading? Does everything flow together nicely? How does it sound? What's the experience? So I think that does still involve that is still involved a lot in my life, especially like the controllers are placed perfectly. The Nintendo Switch is also in like a equally balanced place on the TV unit, and the frames are like, it's like, okay, Canton,
very visual. Very visually attentive.
100%. Yeah,
that's awesome. What has been your most embarrassing moment? I don't know if I can answer this question, so I hope you have a story.
So Most embarrassing. There's a couple, if I think about it. I'm trying to think of one that's quite applicable. Okay, let me maybe say, okay, maybe it's not the most embarrassing, but it's one of those where I always look back at and go, ooh, that
Eesh.
was interesting. So myself and my wife, we've been together now for 13 years, married
Hmm.
for 5, which is a long ass time.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's amazing. We've had some great memories over the years. And one of those memories specifically, I think, was in our first year of dating. We were at Canton City at Mug and Bean.
Hmm.
And we were eating, but like, I think it was a toasted sandwich and chips. And I was trying to get the one chip on the fork, but the chip was like on a chip. So I like pushed the fork down and it hit the one chip and the chip went flying. And it landed on some old lady's shoulder over here. And she saw it land, she felt it, but she was like kind of like right here next to me. And she just like looked at it, and then she like looked at me, and then she just like picked up the chip, and then she gave me the chip. I took it, and I just put it back on my plate. I looked at her and I went, "Thank you." And it was just like one of those, like, it was like funny, but it was like, oh gosh, did that
Literal
really just
chip on
happen?
her
So I don't think the
shoulder.
most embarrassing, but it's
Yeah.
definitely it's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's like it's all about how you feel in the moment, right? Like something can be
Oh man.
not so embarrassing, but just your reaction or like people around you, their reaction makes it
Yeah.
worse.
Oh man, it's so funny. Like, but thankfully she was chilled. So I'm
Yeah,
glad about that.
that's the thing. You just have to hope people around you have a sense of humor when these things happen. Because if someone's just like
And
having a bad day,
if
yeah,
they don't have a sense of humor, you throw another chip at them and then see what they do.
until they laugh.
Until they laugh, exactly.
Um, so you also have a lot of tattoos, and that
I've only
ties.
got 2.
Okay,
I've got
to
1 and I've got 2.
did you do them like at the same, did you do like a whole
Uh,
sleeve or did you start with one and then you were like, let me get another
so
one, let me add to it?
yeah, so this was my first one, and like that was my second one. Then it like this whole sleeve was done by the time I think I was 20. So I got my first tattoo at
Hectic.
18 because it's like cool. You know, I wanted to respect my parents in the sense of I
Hmm.
always wanted a tattoo. When I think I was 11, I used to go to calligraphy class.
Oh
Yes, I
wow.
went to calligraphy class, and I would fail calligraphy every single time. Not because I didn't know how to do calligraphy. I actually
Uh-huh.
really enjoyed it and I did well at it. But I would just sit with the calligraphy pen and just draw and write on my arm and give
Okay.
myself a whole tattoo sleeve every single calligraphy class. And so I got
Yeah.
into so much trouble, detention on detention on detention. Anyway, so everyone always knew like, when Canton grows up, he's getting tattoos. So at
Hmm.
18, I got my first tattoo. And I think like 3 weeks later, next one. 4 weeks later, next one. At the time, I was like very, very successful within graphic design,
Hmm.
and I didn't have a single expense to my name. So all my money just went to all my tattoos. So by the time I was 20, my whole left arm was covered in tattoos, and 21, I was already starting my next sleeve.
Yeah.
And I think by I haven't got a tattoo maybe in like 4 years now, and both arms are covered in tattoos, 2 sleeves, chest is completely full. Planning, I might be doing this. Hopefully, this person watches it, but I might be doing a neck tattoo. If the tattoo
Interesting.
artist can just hurry up with the concept, we might be able to get it going. But yeah, so I might be getting a neck tattoo soon. I don't
Hmm.
know. I find I think my whole narrative is storytelling, and these are permanent stories for
Yeah.
people to go, oh, what does that mean? And then, oh, hey, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Rather like my grandfather before he passed, he had I think it was a dolphin.
Hmm.
I think it was a dolphin or a bird, one of the two. And I
So
always used to
similar.
joke and say, "Oh, when you're my age, you get a tattoo of a dolphin, and when you're his age, that dolphin looks like a flamingo." And it's just like a funny thing where I know these are not going to last forever,
Yeah.
but the stories always will. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing
Yeah.
for me.
My thing about that, I've got one tattoo, so it's not like I have a bunch of tattoos, but people are like, "Oh, it's gonna look so bad when you're older." But like literally doesn't everything look worse when you're older? Like
Susan, we're all gonna look horrible when we're older. Get over
yeah,
it. I don't
like
know why her name's
nothing's
Susan, but anyway,
Susan, nothing's gonna look nice. It's fine. Like it doesn't
that's
matter
it.
by that point, right? You just like
Exactly.
yeah, that's cool though. So it ties in with like the visual aspect. You like
Yeah.
as we've established, like very visual. So it's part of your sort of
Yeah, very much
visual
so.
identity. Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. What are you thinking of doing for your neck, if I may ask?
So, for those that are watching, I'd like to get a throne here in the middle, so that is very symmetrical. So Jesus sitting on a throne in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then for those that understand biblical narrative, to have two cherubims on either side of the throne with wings that are going up until like there. So it's very, very symmetrical, but it looks
Yes.
like very like, whoa, okay, like that's a piece.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna hurt a lot,
Yeah, I
but
believe it is quite sore on your neck, especially like your Adam's
yeah.
apple area. What is
The
a
sternum is pretty
is it?
as yeah, you feel it. You
What
feel it.
what is a cherubim?
Cherubim is a biblical creature, well not creature, but a biblical symbol where when God established the Ark of the Covenant within the Old Testament, and it pretty much we won't get into the whole symbolic meaning of it all, but
Mm-hmm.
long story short, the cherubim sat on top of the Ark of the Covenant that housed and kind of made it possible for God's throne to come from heaven to earth for the people.
Mm-hmm.
So those cherubim are almost like these holy figures, these holy creatures, if you want to call them, that are there to house the throne of God. And then obviously Jesus on the throne, because there's only one on the throne. Haha.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. I think that'll be really cool. Good luck with the
Yeah.
pain.
Thank you for that. I'll just rub like a whole like tub of numbing cream and
Yeah.
see
I mean, yeah,
if I
that's perfect.
survive.
That stuff is amazing. Um,
Yeah.
okay, we have 12 minutes before you have load shedding.
Yeah. Welcome for everyone watching to South Africa. For those in the UK, South Africa. For those in South Africa, South Africa.
Sorry, ne? Yeah,
Sorry, ne?
like I don't think a lot of people know about load shedding outside of South Africa. Like,
Oh man. I had load shedding today from I'm sorry, I'm looking at my clock. From 10 to 12.
mhm,
It's now in my time. It was 3 o'clock when we started this. Now I have load shedding again from 4 to 6.
yeah,
Then at after 6 I can start creating content. And then I think I have load shedding again. I think I might be wrong, but at 10. But if not, then winner chicken dinner, I can play games.
yeah.
But it's thankfully I work primarily off my laptop.
Mm,
So like and I've got a UPS for my Wi-Fi. So when load shedding kicks, it's like, okay, cool, just
yeah,
carry on working for 2
you
hours.
last for those 2 hours. Yeah, that's the thing. You
Yeah,
have to have
exactly.
backup. You have to. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Okay, so we have one more thing. This is Would You Rather, and I didn't send you these Would You
On
Rathers
purpose.
first. I was gonna send them, and then I was like, no, I want you to be like surprised.
No, we got to get the reaction.
Yeah.
We got to.
Okay. Would you rather tell all of your deepest, darkest secrets to your boss or to your parents?
I think now at my age, probably my parents, because it'd probably be funny.
Yeah.
But like if I had like a really like you know some households, you know, their parents are like some people move out and their parents are still like the ones that have the say in their lives.
Yeah.
I think in that context, I'd probably tell my boss, but I'd probably tell my parents where it's like, oh, did you know when I was this age, I did this? Like I told my mother the other day, like, oh, when I was young, what was it? I did once upon a time paint my sister's boyfriend's car with, I think it's called decoupage paint, decoupage paint, whatever. It doesn't come off.
Oh, yeah.
So I painted his car at like 1 o'clock in the morning with a friend. I think I was like 10 or whatever. And the next morning, they're like, who did this? And I'm like, I don't know. And then like a couple of years later, I was like, that was me.
They never found out until you told them.
It was so bad. But yeah, probably my parents, just for the humor of it.
Okay. Yeah, same. I think same. Yeah. Okay. Would you rather people could hear your thoughts or you have everything you do live streamed on Instagram? That's like terrible.
Yo. So I'm gonna choose. I would rather have everything I do live on Instagram. However, this is
Okay.
gonna be a deep answer.
Okay.
So that everyone, and more specifically me, in context to the question, I would have my life in such an order and in such a disciplined way that I'll be able to be accountable to everyone. So like everyone knows that there's like certain things in your life that everyone does. So you
Yeah.
can't really hide that if it's live stream because like, oh,
Yeah.
you do the same thing.
Yeah.
But like there's certain things where it's like, hey, I don't want people to see this, so I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then enough of that as a mindset and as a behavior and then as a habit, eventually becomes like, oh, okay, that's just my lifestyle. Like, oh, it's great. Where my thoughts, I think a lot about a lot of people and a lot of things, so I'd probably want to keep that to myself.
That would be, imagine if like we could all hear each other's thoughts. Like that would be an
Oh
absolute
man,
disaster. Hey?
right.
Um, okay, would you rather discover your friends don't like you or your boss thinks you're bad at your job?
I'd rather. I think I'd rather discover that my friends don't like me,
Ah,
which I think
okay.
might be a big possibility. I think because like again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. I always want to be a valuable asset wherever I am.
Hmm.
So whether it's freelance or it's specific in context to my job now, or a lot that I do with brands, like I want them to know, like, hey, you can trust me with your work. Like
Yeah,
I wanna
yeah.
do good work. With my friends, if they don't like me, it's like, okay, sorry, like sorry.
Interesting. Okay, would you rather be trapped in a small room with 10,000 tarantulas for 10 minutes or eat 10 tarantulas in 10 minutes?
Yo, Chloe, who hurt you?
Google these.
Um, Definitely just in a room for 10 minutes. 100% not
Okay, I
eat.
don't know if they, I don't know if tarantulas are live when you eat them, you know? So,
It doesn't matter. It's
doesn't
a
matter.
tarantula.
They're actually so, the thing that surprised me about tarantulas is that they're so heavy. Like when you hold them, have
Oh,
you held
wow.
one before?
No, never will.
They're they're very dense, like very dense
Oh, wow.
creatures. Yeah.
Can you throw them at a wall?
I mean, you can, but shame, Canton.
Will they die?
Probably.
You're so sweet. That's amazing.
Shame. Okay, would you rather have teeth for hair or hair for teeth?
Hair for teeth, because I can always keep my mouth closed.
True. I didn't know how to answer. Like, imagine a whole bunch of teeth on your head.
Yeah, it's
That'd be
like
very strange.
when your head itchy, do you brush your teeth as well? Like, I don't...
Brush your teeth. I heard this thing this morning. It was like, when you brush your teeth, it's the only time you're cleaning your skeleton.
Oh man, true. I like that. I like that actually.
Okay, last one. Would you rather have to walk backwards everywhere or sprint everywhere?
I'm gonna go with sprint everywhere because I can get there quicker.
Yeah. Imagine like you just in the house and like sprinting around, like sprint to the bathroom, sprint to
Yeah,
your room, sprint to bed, like you're in an office and you're like sprinting around. Probably get quite
yeah.
fit
It's like,
though.
I can simply step into my office, be then you're there already.
Yeah, not
But yeah,
not a terrible problem to have.
no.
Canton, thank you so much. I'm gonna cut
Thank
it
you.
here so that you can get ready for load shedding.
Get
Um,
ready for the
yeah,
darkness,
get ready
although
for
it's not
the.
dark outside.
It looks dark though because of your immaculate backdrop.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
At least, at least you didn't do what Bum did and had like a green screen, embarrassing photoshopped image of me in the background. Like, I'm just grateful for that.
That strategy, I should have done that. I should have had like there's like it fills the thing in and there's like just photos of you.
Yeah,
I should have done that.
next
Welcome to
time.
the Not My House podcast with Chloe.
Next time. Yeah, we're busy having these deep conversations and there's like this weird picture of me in the background. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Ah man, it's vibes. I think it's cool.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you.
I am an admirer of your work. I think you are so professional. It's good to know you, and I look forward to seeing what you do next.
Oh, thanks so much, Chloe. I appreciate that. I also look forward to what I do next because not even I know. But let's